This is the new American media.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody, welcome to the fantastic program that we are going to bring you today, known as Agree to Disagree. Yes. It's a place where we talk everything: politics, spirituality, finance, everything you're not supposed to talk about inside of a bar. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Brian Engelman, here on the TNAM Radio Network. Thank you for joining us. Real quick, want to make sure that you have checked out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at American_media_. Search The New American Media with spaces on Facebook and like our page. And subscribe to our youtube.com/The New American Media page. We'd appreciate that. Special thanks to Rob Troutman, our guest on the Unhappy Hour. Talking the Cleveland Browns' 3-game winning streak. Talking about the Tribe getting bounced by the Rays. Tough. And the undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes. So check out that show if you're into that kind of sports talk. And right now we're going to kind of talk about the world of current events and have a chat with our good friend Blake Walley. He is the host of Eccentric Perspective on Freedomizer Radio. You can check him out on freedomizerradio.com every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. And you can sign up for his podcast. Search Eccentric Perspective and follow him on Twitter at Eccentric99. So, that being said, how about we bring Mr. Blakenstein into the program and have a conversation, shall we?
Hello.
Hey, Blake. Welcome to the program. You are live, sir. How's things? How is life? You just took you had a sabbatical recently. Are you feeling recharged?
A little bit.
Little bit. Not enough. I mean, there's no such thing as enough, I guess, but...
Yeah, it'd be nice to just lay on go to an island somewhere without a cell phone just for like a week and just really get a chance to relax and just shut myself off from the rest of the world, if that's possible. That would be different. Then that would totally be a recharge, I think. But, I was kind of thinking, like, the last day of my vacation as I'm walking around the Como Zoo in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm listening to the Alex Jones show on my on podcast at 1.5 times speed. Like, why can't I just sit down and just enjoy and relax and look at the animals? But I'm just constantly, it's good to get away and, maybe not be, spending 3 hours or so a day, in front of the computer studying articles, but to actually just unwind a little bit. But even when I'm on my downtime, I'm still, listening to the news in some regards. There's just too many exciting things going on. It's hard to cut yourself off from that, I suppose, once you get heavily involved in that.
Yeah, when I think of calm and relaxed, I always think of Alex Jones. Nothing sets me at ease. Nothing sets me at ease and lowers my blood pressure like listening to an hour of Alex Jones, let me tell you.
No, I hear you.
No, man, but welcome back, seriously, because you definitely deserved a break. You needed that. We all need that from time to time. And, I mean, so much has been going on this week. I was going to say, I think Vanilla Ice has a new program where he goes and builds with the Amish. I think it's on DIY Network or something like that. So maybe you need to go Amish for a while, bro. Maybe that's what's lacking. You're in Vegas, and I think you need to find some Amish. Are there any Amish communities near Las Vegas?
I think that is mostly in the Midwest and East Coast that I'm aware of, but I don't know. I'm not aware of any Amish communities out in Nevada.
I know. I was totally kidding on that one. Maybe a nice Native American reservation or something. There are people that live differently on this planet, and
go hang out with the Navajos, do some ayahuasca, and it'd be kind of a good spiritual experience,
Peyote or ayahuasca,
ready?
Yeah.
Peyote, there you go.
Yeah, well, whatever's clever. No, but I mean, it has been a crazy week. Geez, and you and I didn't even talk about this one, and I don't know, maybe it's not the biggest headline story of the week, but everything's happening in D.C. A man just set himself on fire in the National Mall. I don't know if you saw this one. He poured a can of gasoline on his head and set himself on fire in the National Mall today.
I tend to avoid little individual local stories like that because, they kind of get disturbing, and I just don't even want to know sometimes. Sometimes I do just because I'm so curious, but I did not click on anything on that one.
Well,
Brian, you'll have to drive that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, talk about drive that. I mean, that's all I would say about that one because, how recently was that Navy Yard shooting in D.C.? That was within the past couple of weeks. And talk about driving that story. I mean, this Connecticut woman drove her car into a police barricade, and she said Obama was spying on her and listening to her and communicating with her through radio waves and had a 1-year-old kid in the back seat, and she's unarmed, so the police shoot and kill her. And just D.C.'s getting crazy. The shutdown, Obamacare, it's like every story I'm pulling up is Washington, D.C. I don't know if the zombie apocalypse is beginning a little earlier from, kind of gearing up, ramping up toward Halloween here. But, I mean, every story I'm looking at is about D.C. I mean, is it the same on your radar?
You know what? I think that's I think it's a valid point. I think the people our elected representatives are so unpopular that maybe they're just getting a bit jumpy over there. Just everything they're overreacting. They keep thinking like maybe the people are just going to rise up with their pitchforks and torches and will march on D.C. and start removing these people. Start, reversing the corruption problem that we've developed in this country. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that Miriam Carey, 34 years old, from Stamford, Connecticut, I think she reversed right into a cop car. I'm looking at the picture of this totally crushed cruiser. I think they said she was going up to 80 miles an hour. The kid in the back seat. Just really bizarre stuff. Saying she had mental issues. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I get if...
That's the other thing I said, yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, because I was kind of covering the story a little bit yesterday on my show, but it was just breaking. So, I mean, really the only thing I could predict was that they were probably on some sort of serotonin reuptake inhibitor or some kind of Prozac type of drug, and that was the case, but everything else was just all speculation at the time. I didn't really know what the details were.
Yeah, it was definitely...
Whether it was going to be another mass shooting or just another...
Right.
Isolated incident.
Yeah, I was definitely trying to shoot you some updates as I got them because that is it's horrible being in the news because we got to cover all this garbage. But it's nice being in the news when all your friends are hitting you up with hey, breaking news. Are you watching TV or do you see what's happening?
Yeah.
And I was listening to your program yesterday as it broke, and it's hard to cover a story right when it first gets going. But I mean, is she deranged because she says the president's been listening to her? Well, I don't know that President Obama is listening to her specific conversation, but he is. This government is spying on the people. That's not deranged. The NSA, Edward Snowden, I mean, that's all obvious that's happening.
Oh, yeah, dude. Speaking of Alex Jones and Snowden and the NSA, they sent reporters, Anthony Gucciardi and others, up to the new Utah database center for the NSA center,
right?
And they threatened them big time and tried to delete all their camera footage. Yeah, they could spy on you all you want, but you go and just dare film them in the parking lot and ask them a couple of questions, and they'll threaten to arrest you and confiscate all your stuff.
Yeah, the nerve of these people! All they were doing was filming them in the toilet. They're trying to use the toilet, and geez, I mean, the nerve of some. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but that is kind of so. What was the deal? What happened with that? I heard you mention it briefly on your program yesterday, but what was the gist of it? Just that they went out there and tried to get whatever they could, and they were instantly accosted.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm pulling up. Actually, I've got an article out of the Salt Lake Tribune here right now. NSA security at Utah data center stops journalists from shooting video. Yes, the National Security Agency does not want you at the Utah data center. And the NSA especially does not want you filming there. Yes, 3 journalists learned as much Thursday when they entered the data center parking lot, and security officers confiscated their cameras. So yes, it was Infowars.com posted video of the confrontation yesterday. The website said it live streamed the confrontation. Yeah, they were playing it live on the Alex Jones show yesterday. So yeah, Anthony Gucciardi is seen in the video telling security he wants to speak to NSA Public Affairs, but a security agent repeatedly tells Gucciardi and his two camera operators they need to stop filming. And yeah, they wouldn't even answer any questions until they stopped filming. It threatened to sick dogs on them if they got anywhere near the building. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Why can't they just be cool and just, oh, okay, yeah, here's the NSA facility. We're just trying to keep Americans safe. We're just, we're just out here collecting some data, and it's nothing to worry about. But no, I mean, you see, and I mean, wasn't it like a conspiracy theory that the NSA even existed? I mean, I think you were talking about, what's that movie, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. There you go. I think I would know that. But, yeah, I mean, they were talking about the NSA there. And the NSA was, bigger than the CIA. And, it's a big deal. And, it was kind of like this conspiracy. Like, oh, it didn't really exist. And we didn't do stuff like that. And no, they're building these huge facilities. And they're spying on everybody. Snowden is, should be a hero, and instead he's, living in Russia right now. And I mean, they're demonizing. They keep trying to demonize Greenwald for dare even reporting on this stuff. And then, you got people, James Clapper or General Keith Alexander. I mean, these are some really despicable people, and they've been lying and spying on Americans for years and years and getting away with it under the war on terror. But how dare us, citizens just ask a couple of questions in the parking lot and get treated like criminals and threaten to get, threaten to turn into the next Bradley Manning. Who knows? They're going to use NDAA to, throw you into a hole somewhere without a lawyer until the war on terror is over.
Well, it continues. I'm checking out this article where they said, hey, there's no telling what the dogs might do. They might eat you. Huh. Wow. Awesome guy. The article continues. A keen viewer sent us a U.S. Department of Homeland Security bulletin entitled Photographing the Exterior of Federal Facilities, which was given to nationwide protective security officers, such as the ones that their reporters encountered. Released on August 2, 2010, the bulletin's intent is to, quote, raise awareness of the public's right to photograph the exterior of federally owned and leased facilities, end quote. Remember that the public has a, well, quote again, remember that the public has a right to photograph the exterior of federal facilities from publicly accessible spaces such as streets, sidewalks, parks, and plazas, the bulletin reads. And that's exactly what the crew was doing. And then this thing continues to say, officers should not seize the camera or its contents and must be cautious not to give such orders to a photographer to erase the contents of a camera, as this constitutes a seizure or detention, the bulletin continues. Interesting. Quick question, Blake. This is pop trivia. Here's a little pop quiz, some trivia for you. Ready?
Yep.
Who pays for the NSA to operate?
Taxpayers, I would assume.
Ah, see, they got it backward. They think we work for them. It's backward.
Yeah.
They work for us, and this crap just keeps going on and on. Talking of crap, let's bounce to Obamacare real quick.
Yeah, because this can almost tie directly into the government shutdown here. I mean, this is kind of, in a way, before we get to Obamacare, the shutdown of a lot of the federal government stuff, and what really are we losing? I mean, this is the federal government with the NSA thing, threatening our citizens. So in a way, why can't they shut that one down? But of course, that's a different story altogether. But it just goes to show you how the government is gotten out of control. Maybe it needs to be shut down. But that's specifically also why. Well, we'll get into Obamacare.
Well, okay, we can get into Obamacare, but I mean the fight over Obamacare is spilled into the budget, and now everything's on half the things are on shutdown. They're paying for people to block them from going to the World War II memorial. Wasn't that funded completely with private dollars, number one? Number two, didn't on the sequester, the president said no more tours of the White House? Like, and the first lady sending out tweets like, I'm sorry, due to recent budget cuts, I'm not going to be able to have my paid staffer send out intermittent tweets on my damn Twitter profile. Why do you have to pay somebody to use a Twitter account? Seriously? I mean,
no, I know it's sad. She's got like a staff of people that specifically work on her account, I believe, and I think most of her Twitter followers are actually fake. On top of that, so it's welcome to the bizarro world of 21st century America.
Yeah, well, let them have their breads and circuses. Let them eat cake. Let them eat cake, says this first lady. That why does she need a staff? Why are we paying for it? Talking about the things we're paying for and the things we're not paying for, and this ridiculous president that says, hey, you know what? Here's the deal. I think those Republicans are up to no good. So with this sequestered, that was my idea in the first place. We have to make just drastic cuts that will really make it hard for our national defense. Something about seniors. And by the way, we have to close down the White House for tours. And it's because of John Boehner and the Republicans. Yeah. There's the strategy. But my question is, if this budget shutdown has shut down non-essential services, since we're $17 trillion in the hole, wouldn't it be a great time to cut non-essential services out of the budget? Isn't that what families have to do? You lose your cable, you drop your cell phones, you don't go out to eat, you shop at the cheap places, you make your socks last a little longer with a couple holes in them, you make do with what you got when times are tight. If they're non-essential employees, Blake, wouldn't it be a great time to maybe stop paying the First Lady's professional Twitter person? And, and the things that belong to the people, the White House doesn't belong to this president. He's temporarily squatting in it. It belongs to the people. The World War II Memorial, that belongs to the people. So it's really shameful when I see what's going on there and the games they're playing. It's the Republicans that shut down the War Memorial. Right. And ramming through Obamacare. Hey, 2,700 pages. Can't wait to pass it to find out what's in it. Hooray. I think they said premiums are going up 260% now. I don't have that kind of money, and that's been their goal all along, is to collapse this system and turn it into a single-payer system, which is why so many people opposed it. Blake, I'm rambling. I'm going to stop. Pick it up anywhere you want. Anywhere, please.
Yeah, there's a article here from Natural News from yesterday saying Obama deliberately blocked access to veterans' memorials to make shutdown appear worse.
Yes.
Oh, yes. It is a tactic that President Obama has used before in collusion with Democratic leaders in the House and Senate during the sequester. This is just all backing up what you're saying, Brian. Make the cuts as painful as possible on the American people and blame non-existent Republican obstinacy. Or obstinacy. Okay, whatever. Which is then dutifully reported as truth by the mainstream media. And now he's doing it again during the current partial government shutdown. Only some of the people he is trying to hurt the most are the very Americans who guaranteed with their lives the safety and survival of this great nation, the World War II veterans. That's right. Thanks to Obama's promise to veto House-passed legislation that would provide funds to keep the nation's World War II memorial open during the current partial shutdown, vets are being turned away from the very memorial built in their honor. And in fact, they even took it up a level today. This one's out of the Weekly Standard. The World War II memorial barricade was wired shut. So they had the barricade set up, and then they decided to put some wires in there just in case these these old men decided that they wanted to
pushing their walker and their scooters.
Right.
But really,
it's just sickening. Yeah, they're putting more money into securing this World War II memorial than they are during normal times when it's actually just open to the public like it should be. I think it's open all the time. I don't think they really have a lot of security there. And it seems to operate by totally fine. So it does look like they're deliberately blocking access just to try to make this everybody feel the pain, and it's like it's a big guilt trip because we don't want the majority of people don't want Obamacare.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
God, there's so many ways to get going on this one.
Right.
But when you think of the president and you think about the game that he's playing, and you think about what Congress is doing, you know, and whether you like it or not, the House does have the power of the purse, and they don't want to fund this thing. Yes, it's a legal law. Yes, the Supreme Court went ahead and said, yes, this is legal. This is the law of the land. It was passed, but it's not being funded anymore. Why are the president and the Congress collecting pay? Why is their staff still collecting pay when the government isn't running right now? Can you explain that one to me? Because it seems like if you don't do your job, you should be fired. Let alone continue to collect money for not doing your job. That doesn't seem like a good reward system to me. Am I out of line?
No, I mean, well, you saw like Lois Lerner. She was, of course, the center of the I.R.S. Controversy, and she was on paid leave.
You said I.R.S. controversy. Let's reset for our low information voters. The I.R.S. controversy would be the one where the president's I.R.S. was sicked on the Tea Party groups because he opposes them politically, and he wanted to make life painful for them because in one of his interviews he mentions punishing his political enemies and rewarding his political allies. So the branch of our government that's supposed to be kind of just in the middle, you know, collecting money, bean counters and pencil pushers, turned into political attack dogs for the Democratic Party, for Barack Obama, for the left. Basically, when our own government was turned against us as a weapon, a financial weapon. I think that's kind of a big deal. Just wanted to reset that for people that kind of missed that whole I.R.S. story. Go ahead.
Right. Well, of course, yes, exactly right. They were targeting their opponents, and then when they were trying to question they tried to blame it on a couple of rogue agents in Cincinnati, and then that didn't work. And of course, that we followed it up the ladder to Lois Lerner, and they pulled her up and subpoenaed her and brought her in front of the Congress, and she pleaded the fifth. And so she didn't have to answer anything. And then she got a nice big vacation, and then of course recently retired with a big pension. So she got rewarded. So we're trying to figure out if they can bring her up on charges again, or if they can go after her. Because you can't plead the fifth, and you can't go up there and say, well, the Constitution says I have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. I don't have to say anything. And by the way, I am innocent of all charges. I didn't do what was accused of, and this whole thing is ridiculous. She says something along those lines. But when you plead the fifth, if you make statements, you are now open for cross-examination, and she totally screwed that up. So I think Daryl Issa and some of the guys and girls are trying to get her back on record and really do some cross-examination to get down to the bottom of what happened at the I.R.S. and how high it went. This was clearly deliberate. This is clearly orchestrated. This is clearly a political attack from President Obama and his Chicago political machine. I mean, that's how you do politics in Chicago. Now, I don't know what kind of stupid accent that was, but that's how you do politics in Chicago. Very close, very close.
Give me a pizza pie. Sorry. Anyway, it's more New York. Anyway,
it sounds like Boston. It's close.
Boston. Yeah, like Good Will Hunting. Anyway, bringing it full circle.
Good call.
Yeah. But this is the political machine. This is what Chicago is all about. You know, it's Al Capone. It's putting the horse's head in. You know, it's the Godfather kind of tactics. Rahm Emanuel stuff. And this president thinks that he can attack his enemies that way, and it's such a shame. I didn't vote for this president, and I didn't vote for him, and I finally opted out of voting for Republicans as well, which feels really nice. Everybody should try it. I actually caught Jesse Ventura on Crossfire talking about banning political parties and removing all Republicans and Democrats from office. Really good stuff on Crossfire on CNN today. But it was on the radio, so I'm not sure that it was from today. Anyway, that's what this president's doing.
I saw somebody tweeting that out. So yeah, he was on Crossfire, and he was also on Piers Morgan recently, saying a lot of the same things. Getting rid of the parties. I totally agree.
2016, he might be in the White House. Who knows? But back to this president. I didn't vote for him, but I mean, he had such an opportunity to unite this nation in a time of crisis. Just an abject failure. Just a complete lack of leadership in the White House. Huge disappointment. People are not not going out on a limb and not being sarcastic or just being ultra mean when they say it, worst president ever. They're legitimately saying that this guy has bungled everything he's got his hands on, and he's ruled like a king, you know. And it's just, it's sad because I can't think of a time when a president had so much potential to unite a nation that really needed it. But I mean, this guy has just had no interest in it. It's hardball, smash mouth politics to divide the nation intentionally. More people are on food stamps than ever before. The unemployment rate is still high. Added went from $8 trillion in debt on the national credit card to $17 trillion. I mean, it's just an abject failure completely across the board. It's really disappointing, Blake.
I agree. Even I held out hope. I didn't vote for him. I didn't quite buy into it, but at the same time, I was hoping he was going to be like the next JFK. He was going to be, maybe he was a little bit corrupt in the beginning, and then he was going to still be, he was still going to be, there was going to be some hope and change, and there was going to be, he wanted to kind of buy into it, and he didn't think he would be this bad, but now, almost 5 years later, and we're just, it's amazing how bad he's been. There really isn't anything positive to say that's been done in the last few years. He's been a great divider, not a uniter. I think there was an article about that yesterday as well.
You know, and I live out here in Southern California, and there will be no shortage of passing a Prius on the freeway or on the road in general, or more likely getting cut off by a Prius because they're the rudest freaking drivers you'll ever find. It's really like that South Park episode. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about, where it's a smug alert instead of a smog alert, where everybody with the Prius, they not to be crass, but let's just face it, they love the smell of their own farts, and like they have such a smug air to them, all these Prius drivers. Thanks. But yeah, I passed a Prius today with a change bumper sticker on, and I just thought how sad and pathetic the person driving it must be. I just really felt, I mean, I just felt sorry. I felt sad for that person that hasn't realized 5 years in what's going on. That it's really just a continuation of the Bush presidency. It's more of the same. It's more Big Brother. It's more First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth, 10th Amendment. Go down the list. It's just a violating, overreaching, massively spending, snake eating its own tail of a government that's pulling us into foreign conflicts, just spending money like a drunken sailor on leave. And I just thought, like, how could you not take that bumper sticker? You know what, but then again, maybe it wasn't a bumper sticker on the Prius. Maybe they come out of the factory with the Obama Hope and Change stickers on them. You know what, maybe, actually, I take that all back. Maybe Prius just had a deal where all of their bumper stickers, because seriously, doesn't it seem like every Prius you drive past has a Hope or Change or Obama bumper sticker on it?
I've noticed that, and a very, yes, a disturbing percentage of them, and I'm sure even worse out where you are, out in super blue state California there, so...
Yeah, anyway.
I can only imagine.
I digress, but I mean, it just struck me as sad seeing that, and it's...
No, it is. You're right, and I've been seeing these Obama stickers a lot, and because I was just back in Minnesota, I seem to see a lot more there, because that's very notorious blue state. And you're just like, yeah, how do you... It's at a certain point you'd think you'd be embarrassed and you'd want to scrape that off. Because when I see somebody with an Obama bumper sticker, my instinct a lot of times if I pull up next to them is to look at them just to see, what kind of person they look like. They, usually out of touch, but yeah.
What describe who the last person was that you saw in a Prius?
You know what? It was weird because this isn't normal. This isn't typical. But I saw like an older lady, and I was surprised out in my neighborhood as I was driving to the grocery store, and I saw an Obama sticker on a little Prius, and I looked over, and it was actually an older lady, which I found surprising. But yeah, I was just probably a well-meaning person that wants to help out the poor, and she knows that the Republicans are a bunch of creeps and
racists.
They were awful they were awful during the Bush Cheney years. I don't hold that against them.
Well, hey, that is true. I'll give you that.
The Republican Party.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So, but then they don't realize that they themselves are just as have gotten just as bad, and they're no better. They're actually worse, I would say, than the people that voted. I was upset at a lot of the people that were voting for Bush the second time around, and you were like, "Come on, like, what are you people thinking?" But then,
sorry,
look at
Blake.
the people that
Sorry,
voted
Blake.
for Obama again the second time.
That's before I woke up. I'm sorry, I did that.
That's all right. Fair enough.
I'll raise my hand. I'm
people
sorry.
would be more woken up now. It's
Yeah.
all right. That was years ago, and now you. If you had a Bush Cheney sticker, I would think you'd want to scrape it off. Like if you bought a used car at a CarMax or something, and you'd be like, "Hey, I gotta remove that bumper sticker. I don't want to drive around with that."
If I was at a giant used car sale and I ended up getting,
right.
I could just
At
imagine.
a car auction, there you go.
No, back to the most important point I was trying to make. There is the person I passed looked like she would be just as likely seen out at Venice Beach with a stick of Nag Champa burning in the sand, playing some hacky sack with her friend. That's the person I passed. That is very stereotypical, I suppose. But no, I mean, you mentioned Minnesota being a very blue state. They also elected, let's go back full circle again, Mr. Jesse Ventura. That is a message that resonated with Minnesota. Eh?
Yeah, that was awesome, and that really surprised everybody in the system. And then Jesse Ventura's got a pretty interesting story where he got a bunch of CIA type of people or something that called him into a meeting, and they were asking him, how did he get elected?
Because I'm awesome. Because I'm awesome
Right.
and a little bat-ass crazy on top of it.
Because he got up there and he told it like it was. He even says he doesn't make prepared speeches. He just goes and speaks from the heart, and you don't have to remember what's been said if you tell the truth and you're honest and you have integrity. So, say what you want about him. Now, he's not popular with everybody, but he is a straight shooter, and I got to respect that. So,
well, talking about straight shooters, I mean, this Navy Yard gunman, I mean, they said that something was engraved on his weapon. He felt like he was being attacked by elements of the government with radio waves, with different frequencies. This woman from Connecticut, she was saying that, maybe it was postpartum depression and that the president was spying on her and messing with her with radio waves, trying to communicate with her. I mean, it really does seem like we're seeing more and more of this weird behavior out of our public. I mean, I don't even know how I.
Yeah, we have so many people that are on pharmaceutical drugs, and we've got such a horrible corruption problem, and who knows? I just I'm at a point where things don't surprise me anymore. I don't know a lot about. I haven't really gotten into the Navy Yard shooting as much as I could. Speaking of Alex Jones again, I know he's having Dr. Steve Pachenik on his show today. I haven't listened to it yet, but he's going to supposedly give some insider scoop that this was perhaps even a staged event of some sort. So I'll have to check that out because he's always an interesting guy. He was worked a lot with Tom Clancy on all of his novels, who happened to who just passed away a few days ago. So
see, you're breaking news. You're breaking news.
Radio.
You're breaking news to the low information voter just in casual conversation. You just worked Tom Clancy in there, by the way, who passed away a couple of days ago. That was nicely done.
Yeah. Right.
Hey, speaking of other stuff, anyone that doesn't know, when I was on Blake's program, Eccentric Perspective, you can find him every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific on freedomizerradio.com, or sign up for his podcast at Eccentric99. I'm sorry, I confused those. Follow him on Twitter at Eccentric99 and sign up for his podcast on iTunes by searching Eccentric Perspective. But when I was on your program a couple of days ago, maybe a couple programs ago rather, we made a bet on your Minnesota Vikings and the Cleveland Browns. And while we're breaking news, this just in. Check it out, the Cleveland Browns on a 3-game winning streak. See, what do you think about them apples? How do you think about them apples? To bring up Goodwill Hunting again. How you like them apples?
Right. I'm probably as shocked as anybody. I think because I was right here in the heart of it in Vegas, and that was the pick that everybody and their brother was betting on. That was going to be the easiest pick on the board, is taking the Vikings minus 4.5 over the hapless Cleveland Browns, who had just gone to their third-string quarterback and traded away their future stud running back, so it looked like they were dead on arrival. But they pulled a couple of trick plays, a nice little trick play on a field goal attempt and a punt. Well, everybody should have saw the fake punt coming, but the point is, they pulled out the tricks. They pulled out the win, and then they beat Cincinnati. That was that was even a bigger victory, I think. Who knows? And
was it bigger than yesterday's nationally televised win against the pretty solid Buffalo Bills? You know.
You know what? I can't, since I have kind of I'm kind of getting back into football after a 2-year hiatus.
Welcome.
I don't know if the Bills were actually that good or not. I'm not taking anything away from it, but So I'm sure it was still a good victory, though. It's still nice to get I don't know how much. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of NFL Network. It still sounds like it's pretty much the Ravens division and Cincinnati's expected to be in the mix.
I would be careful jumping to those conclusions, Blake. I would be careful.
Hey, you know what? Cleveland's got a good defense. I mean, the 2000 Ravens. I hate to bring up a bad memory, but they won the Super Bowl with a really good defense.
You son of a gun!
Do they have Elvis Gerback or something? But anything's possible. But I still think the Browns are going to need a running back at the very least. I don't know if Willis McGahee is going to carry you to the playoffs.
He
this year. Not that he was a bad guy. He had a pretty solid year, but he played for Buffalo too, wasn't he?
Well, I think last year he was on the
Ravens or something.
No. Last year he was on the Broncos, and he helped me in my fantasy league because I won my league last year. And I would watch out for the Cleveland Browns, who currently sit atop the AFC North with a 3-2 record, 600 percentage. Take a look at that, 1-3 in a row. Anyway, I digress. I just wanted to remind our listeners that I did defeat you in a wager of high stakes.
And I got to give you credit because you didn't even ask for the points. Because if it was me, I would have been like, dude, you better give me the 7 points because it went from 4.5 to 7. Because like I said, everybody and their brother was betting on the easiest game of the week.
We don't need your stinking points. We don't need your stinking points.
But I still say this, Brian. I think that if they didn't have the injuries and the trade, I think the Vikings would have won that game. I would have said 23-17.
Candy and nuts.
Look at that, 23-17, Vikings, -6 with an over-under of 40. How could you argue with that?
Well, I'll tell you how. If you're a Republican or a Democrat in Congress, you can argue over anything.
Right.
Let's talk about Obamacare a little bit. I mean, how are you feeling about what Congress is doing now, and tying the budget stuff? These guys never pass a budget. It's all continuing resolutions. Right. It's just a game. It's a joke. And now everybody. And I heard you on your program. You're kind of getting into some of the details of different states, how people are trying to log into the Obamacare portal. They can't even run a website, let alone the healthcare industry. I mean, seriously. It was like when John B. Wells was on the program a couple weeks ago. He said, what was it? One of the high dignitaries in Japan was over by the Fukushima disaster, and they spelled his name wrong on his name tag. But they're supposed to be the ones giving us all the up-to-date current information about the health and safety of this leaking nuclear festering mess over there. They can't even spell a name right. This government can't even run a website properly, but they're supposed to now administer all of our health care. I mean, why should anyone be concerned, right, Blake? And if we oppose Obamacare, we must be racist or, I don't know.
Of course.
Or sexist or ageist or...
You hate the black president. That's just a fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
I should just admit it. All right.
Yeah, that is the narrative that Chris Matthews will put out there on MSNBC every day, every chance he gets, because that's really all they're down to is finger pointing and name calling. You're a stupid head because you don't like this program. Yep, I'm a stupid head. I don't know. Talk about Obamacare in general, man. I mean, just in general.
Where to begin?
I know, it's such a... pick it up wherever.
They had years to prepare for this, and they had their big rollout on Tuesday, and, the websites were down. Nobody could access it. And then the people that did, that are all excited about this, most of them, left empty-handed. So it was like, once they actually got the sticker shock I think that's a Breitbart article. We'll pull that up in a bit here. But once they saw this is going to cost that much. No, how do I get out of this? Like, let me back up. Let me think about it. You ever wanted to go buy something online and you realize, that's going to be a lot more expensive. I'm going to just shut it off, back out. I'll come back again sometime. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. So all these people that thought they were going to get this great deal on stuff, and they got a bit of a reality check here. So this thing is really looking bad. And then you've got the politicians, of course, Harry Reid especially in the spotlight. They wanted to they're going to shut the government down for this, even though you kind of talked about this, how we're approaching our debt ceiling, we're $17 trillion in the hole, and how are we going to fund this thing? We got this big, broke, bloated, corrupt government, and now we're going to give them all of our health care, and then it turns out that you're not getting anything you wanted to do, and they're not even ready for it, and it doesn't make any sense. So I don't really know who's benefiting here. So
well, you know what? And on top of it, I would have been willing. No, I wouldn't have been willing. Let me rephrase that. I would have been more willing to accept Nancy Pelosi's claim of, I can't wait to pass it to find out what's in it. I'm never listening to that used car salesman at the giant used car sale to buy a Prius with a decaying Hopity change sticker on the back of it. But had there been a provision in the bill, Obamacare, that said, should the costs ever exceed the, $1 trillion that they said it was going to cost over 10 years or whatever the case was, should the costs ever exceed what we're saying this program is going to cost, we will pay for it partially by deducting our salary and our retirement, our awesome government pension plan. So should this program ever run above what we're saying it is, because I knew they were lying to us, then we'll personally pay. You can confiscate all of our money personally. Nobody ever made that pledge. Man. Nobody ever made that pledge, and I was waiting for it. I was calling for it at the time. I mean, I don't think I had my radio show. We've had our radio show for about 2.5 years, so this would take me, back to 2011. Anyway, yeah. So I don't think I was broadcasting at that time, but I never heard that. I never heard that promise. Like, hey, trust me, you got to pass to find out what's in it. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. No, trust me, should it go over the cost that I'm telling you, you can confiscate all of my salary. That's how much I believe in this. Nobody believed in it, and now the unions are trying to exempt themselves from it. Everyone's trying to get a carve-out so they don't have to. The politicians themselves aren't subjected to the same program that we are even. They voted for it to put the peasants on. And think of it this way, Blake, too. The same I.R.S. that was sent out as an attack dog by the Obama administration, you're telling me that you couldn't attack the people in their health care and by saying, I saw a tweet from somebody saying, pop quiz, who do you think the Obama administration and Obamacare will help first? The 80 or the what would they say, like the 33-year-old Tea Party member in need of a lung transplant, or the 83-year-old political donor to the DNC? Who's gonna get their treatment first? I mean, come on, man. Like, this is such a rotten scam just sitting there. It's like, they'd never do that. They did it with the I.R.S. They're attacking political enemies. And these Democrats better be careful, because when the Republicans are pulling the strings, and they are all just puppets anyway, it could easily be turned on them. Nobody should have that kind of power. I mean, have you considered that? Like the I.R.S. comparisons to how you could withhold treatment for your political enemies and help the people that you want to help?
Okay, yeah. Let me. I'm going to actually bring up one of the bombshell articles of the week.
By the way, for the NSA listening, and by the way, for all the listeners out there, this program is being monitored by the NSA for your convenience, for your quality assurance purposes. The NSA is listening to this program and is tracking the fact that you're listening to it as well. So Blake using the term bombshell was metaphorical. There is no bomb. Okay, please continue.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so this is Paul Joseph Watson out of InfoWars, linked up on Drudge this week. It's called Obamacare Fines to be Seized from Bank Accounts.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes, big deal. So we got a man who attempted to sign up, claims he was threatened with driver's license being revoked, federal tax lien on home. So, yeah, this is a real big deal with the cold reality check for everybody. So a man who attempted to sign up for Obamacare online was told that a fine of over $4,000 a year for refusing to take out mandatory health insurance could be taken directly from his bank account, and that his driver's license would be suspended and a federal tax lien placed against his home, according to an entry on the healthcare.gov Facebook page.
A more caring, gentler government, Blake. Submit to us, or we will force submission.
Right. So if true, the implementation of Obamacare is going to be a whole lot more draconian than Americans have been led to believe. So this man is named Will Sheehan. He claims that when he tried to sign up for Obamacare and then register to opt out, so I guess this is one of these people that thought they were going to get this great deal. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to go sign up. And then you realize how much it's going to cost, and you just want to hit back button on your browser and get out of there. You're just like, I don't want to force myself to buy this. What do I do now? So he opted out. He received an ominous warning, and his Facebook post reads, quote, I actually made it through this morning at 8 o'clock a.m. I have a pre-existing condition, type 1 diabetes, and my income base was about $45,000 to $55,000 annually. So I chose the Tier 2 Silver plan, and my monthly premiums came out to $597 a month with a $14,000 yearly deductible. He goes, there is no possible way that I could afford this, so he opted out and chose to continue this website, I guess, along with no insurance. So he says he received an email at 5 o'clock informing me that my fine would be $4,000 and could be attached to my yearly income tax return. Then you make it to you make out the check, to repercussions portion for a non-payment of a yearly fine. First, your driver's license will be suspended until paid, and if you go 24 consecutive months with a non-payment and you happen to be a homeowner, you will have a federal tax lien placed on your home. You can agree to give your bank information so that they can easily make automatic withdrawals from your penalties weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Can you imagine that? So if you get some insane price and this poor guy's got a condition, could you imagine paying $600 a month? I mean, yeah, you think you're going to get it's the Affordable Care Act. This is great. $600.
No, I mean
that's like a Lexus or something. I mean,
it's worse than that. We're seeing families of four. It's going to be $2,500. Well, who the hell has that kind of money? Who has $2,500 a month? That's more than the mortgage and the car payment and the student loans and the grocery bills. That's more than everything, actually. Okay, so who has that money? And by the way, while we're at it, how about 30 million illegal aliens get dumped into this system on top of it? Can't we just pass a comprehensive immigration reform bill while we're at it and dump all of them into Obamacare? I think we should do that too, Blake. That sounds like a really good idea on top of it.
No, you're right. And I saw one of the liberal hacks, I won't say his name, wrote an article today making it sound like, this is kind of like the price we pay, or it's because some of the rates are high because of so many people that are uninsured. So if they get into the system, but he doesn't make the connection. Let's just assume he's right, and everyone's paying high because we have to pay for all the people that aren't in the system. Well, then, if everybody supposedly buys health insurance, do you really believe that the government is going to say, "Wow, now that we've got all this money coming in, we're just going to lower everybody's costs because we love you guys so much"? Give me a break,
please. Yeah, we're not going to add another $17 trillion onto the credit card with monopoly money anyway. No. Here's your rebate. My ass. Give me a break. No, this is insane. And who would figure that Gallup is reporting today that Obama's approval rating has fallen to 41%? Who'd have figured that?
I can't believe it's that high.
Who are the 41%? Who are 41 out of 100 people that are standing there with a big smile and a big thumbs up? There are not that many Prius drivers on the planet. There just aren't.
Dude, I agree. I don't even think, even for you over in, L.A. over there, I don't think you could, interview 100 people and 4 out of 10 people are really going to say that they approve of Obama's job. I would have a hard time believing that. But even that, they're still saying, what this is the point of the article is that it's very low, historically. But and to say 52% disapprove, that's a big deal too. But still, it does still seem way too high. You would think that number would be, that's probably double what I would think it would be in all of reality.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we can still go to war in Syria. Maybe we can still default on our credit, our debt obligations with the debt ceiling debate. And that's the other thing. You got a debt ceiling debate. The people in Washington today have developed, it should become an Olympic sport at this point, kicking the can down the road. I mean, that's all these clowns do, and they wait till they're out of office and they got their sweet pension, or they blame the previous administration, and it's just that's all they're doing. They haven't addressed any of the underlying concerns of our country in the past 5 years. Nothing. All Obamacare, I seriously, they have destroyed the healthcare system. But that's their plan all along. You've seen, who was it? A member from SEIU, or it was one of the, I'm trying to remember exactly who it was. I remember when Glenn Beck was on Fox, played the video over and over. One of these leaders, these officials, that was talking about, yes, our plan is essentially a Trojan horse to destroy the private healthcare industry and implement a single-payer system. Complete socialized medicine. This is a means to the end. This is a step toward collapsing the entire system. And you look at what's going on, 41% approval rate, it almost seems like it's a 41% unemployment rate. They say, what is it? It's around 7% or 8%, but the real number is a lot higher, closer to 20 or 25%. I mean, it's almost like they're using the Cloward and Piven strategy to intentionally bankrupt and collapse the United States so that, Marxism, communism, and socialism can rise and take its place. It's the Cloward and Piven strategy, and these are all of the advisors that taught Barack Obama how to be a politician. They were communists, they were Marxists, they were radicals. That's the only way this makes sense, Blake, is that if you were intentionally trying to collapse the system, you've got to continue the foreign wars, you got to spend more than you're taking in, you got to never actually put your money where your mouth is and pass budgets and govern. It's just destruction across the board. It feels really intentional, doesn't it?
In ways, I hate to even go there, but
I know,
you're absolutely
so do I.
right.
I don't enjoy
this. Cloward Piven, Cloward Piven, we've heard a lot about that. I wouldn't disagree with that. It's such a train wreck, such a disaster, and they've, it's like they've intentionally made it so it's confusing, so that nobody will understand it, no one will read it, whether it's Henry Waxman or Nanny State Nancy Pelosi. The people that want to pass this thing, they won't look at it. It's tens of thousands of pages of legalese. And once you actually break it all down and all the extra things that they throw on it, so I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, it'd be great to have, maybe a 20-page healthcare bill that was all in common sense and it took all the corruption out of the system, and it was very clear to everybody on how it was going to really help us and benefit us, but that's not the case, and they're just trying to ram this thing through, and we don't know what the kind of unintended consequences are going to be yet. And, we just, at the very least, I think the Republicans are right. Why can't let's wait another year? And, I mean, they just blew up in their face anyway because they want to get this through so fast, and then they finally launch it, and then the whole system crashes. And then finally when people actually get in there, and then they realize how expensive it's going to be, and then they start freaking out on top of it. So I don't know. I don't see this going well.
No. I see cities quickly becoming a horrible place to be. Yeah, let's go down the rabbit hole, Blake. I mean, let's just face it. You look at what the federal government's doing. They're shutting off the spigot to money. You have situations where our own military are being disrespected, and you can't even go to the World War II memorial. Are you kidding me? They're not paying the cops? Yeah, that belongs in the same non-essential category as Michelle Obama's professional Twitter writer. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. But thankfully we have the Fifth Estate. We have the New American Media. We have, and by the New American Media I don't just mean me. I mean people like you and your eccentric perspective radio program, of course. But you think about what happens to people that are trying to expose the truth. And this is a story I just came up with here. I just wanted to share it with you. Former CIA Director General Michael Hayden is making waves today. This is dated October the 4th, today. Former CIA Director Michael Hayden is making waves today for an off-color joke he recently told. The retired spy master was speaking at a Washington Post forum on cybersecurity recently when he acknowledged that NSA leaker Edward Snowden has been nominated for a Human Rights Award. Hayden quipped, "I must admit, in my darker moments over the past several months, I'd also thought of nominating Mr. Snowden, but it was for a different list." The Obama administration, which unsuccessfully sought to get Snowden returned from Russia, where he had been granted asylum, is known to maintain a list of terrorists for killing via drone strikes. U.S. citizens have not only found their way onto that list, some have even been killed. Islamist hate preacher Anwar al-Awlaki and his 16-year-old son were both killed in separate drone strikes in Yemen. They were U.S. citizens. Al-Awlaki had extorted Muslims, encouraged Muslims, including Nadal Hassan, to kill Americans. So, it's very interesting. The report on Hayden's remarks come from Russia Today. This channel is funded by the Russian government, which itself has been known to kill journalists and others who get on President Vladimir Putin's bad side. So, this really is a game of kings and queens, and we all just clean up the mess, and we're the pawns in their game. This is what happens to the truth tellers, Blake. Nominating for kill lists because he's telling the truth that we're all being spied on. And then you see a crazy lady say, "The president's spying on me." Is she crazy? Not for that. That's absolutely accurate. And then she gets shot and killed. She didn't have a gun. Was she out of her car at the time? I'm still trying to piece together the stories of what happened in D.C. with the woman in her car. But, journalists are being exiled. Michael Hastings, I don't know, that seems very realistic that he got into a car crash after he was warning people that I'm scared to start my car because I think they're going to plant a bomb there. You see multiple videos where there was like a series of 2 or 3 different explosions right in my backyard, right on Highland and Melrose. I believe that was right around the intersection there where he was killed. Edward Snowden's out there, and people are being driven to the brink of insanity. But I don't know, Blake, aren't we just crazy nutters, conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat wearing goofballs for bringing this stuff up? Shouldn't we just drink the Kool-Aid and stick to football?
Not anymore. It's gotten too intense. So, a lot of big things, and of course, Snowden, Greenwald, and they're still out trying to demonize them. Yeah, former NSA head said he'd like to see Snowden on a kill list. They're actually just openly saying it now. Obviously he was trying to say that as a joke, but I don't know if anybody was laughing. Yeah, exactly.
I want to kill people.
This is America, and we're joking about killing. But then you have journalists that are going up to, take a visit to the NSA and, being threatened. So it's disgusting. And then you got Glenn Greenwald, and you got the old guard media, the old dying dinosaur media, trying to make him look bad on BBC, and he destroyed them today. There's an article in the Activist Post. I should say it's a 14-minute video. It's weird to see all this happen in this country. This is not the country I knew, but I guess the good news is that there's a lot of people that are waking up, and like I said, you saw the Gallup poll. People are, this establishment, they're losing all their credibility. Now they're shut down, they're bloated and broke and falling apart and freaking out every time. See, one lady goes nuts and the whole town gets shut down. So, there's a lot of exciting developments going on. So,
well, don't worry. It's no big deal. It's not like on top of this failure to fund essential. You're not funding the police. Seriously, that's isn't that essential? I don't really see how that's they're working without pay. That doesn't make a lick of sense to me. But don't worry. On top of people not getting paid, I'm sure I am sure that more than 150 companies and groups that are taking part in a drill that will simulate attacks on the power grid. I think that's coming up in November. I'm sure nothing bad could possibly go wrong during that either. Nothing to worry about, right? Grid X 2. No, nothing to worry about, bro. Hey, let's talk some more football, eh? Let's talk about those Vikings, eh? Adrian Peterson, eh? What's that all about?
Yeah.
What's that all about? Nah, I don't know, man. This stuff is enough to drive a sane person silly.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, like a lot of people, they just want to just go look at football. They don't want to even look at this stuff. And now it's just it's all right in the open. It's right in our face. And now the government's literally shutting down the. I don't know what's going to happen with this, or if this is going to. I mean, we could be looking at some major things happening. So I don't want to make it too light of this, because we could be, if we don't fund the government at some point, we are going to have problems paying our debt, and I don't know if that's going to crash the stock market or crash the economy. So it's probably a good idea for people, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm fear-mongering or anything like that, but if this shutdown doesn't start turning around soon, it might be. I think it's time for people to start thinking about, getting some storable food, or maybe some metal currencies, some physical gold and silver, just in case there is a temporary economic collapse or something like that. It becomes, it's becoming a little bit more, when they're killing journalists right out in the open and things are falling apart. It might be. I think we all see the writing on the wall, and. Like Russia, I don't know if we're going to fall like the Soviet Union did, the empire falling. But I mean, these things it's starting to get more and more apparent. This system we have is not going to last forever, so people might want to start paying more attention.
Well, you know what? On top of it, Blake, don't forget. I mean, you were mentioning that on the I.R.S. page for Obamacare. Hey, we can log into your accounts and take your money that way. I mean, you're telling me China and Russia and all the countries that hate us, and Iran, rather, you're telling me these countries haven't found ways to get into the bank accounts and just have it where one day you log in and your stuff ain't there? I mean, simulating a global shutdown with this Grid X, you just say, well, wait a minute, if we're so reliant on technology and all of our money is elsewhere, and we're broke, and people hate us, do you think one day something bad could happen where all of my money disappears and then I'm SOL? Hey, you know what? It's crazy to think about, except that, hey, if because of healthcare, because of Obamacare, the I.R.S. can steal your money through your bank accounts, tell me a bad guy can't do it too? Or that people in these banks couldn't be bad guys and do it too? It's just, it just comes down to making sure we're taking care of ourselves, I suppose. But tell you what, Blake, we're just about out of time. Leave us on a high note, brother. Leave us with something good, something positive. Think positive. Give me something great.
There's been a great awakening, and people are fed up. Like I said, the Gallup poll is down. The credibility of the media is falling apart. The major politicians look like they're all panicking. And there's good developments. I really like to see a nice even as Jesse Ventura said, a peaceful revolution that is possible, but it's about getting informed and being self-sufficient and being aware, and we can all work together and we can make this country great again. But we've got a corruption problem to fix. And then, I see we can either let them drive us into the next dark age, or we can take things back and create the next renaissance. So that's what I would like to see, and it is very possible. So I'm optimistic in that regard.
Nicely said, Blake. Absolutely nicely said. And I think the end of a phase is always, it can be a little dicey. It can be a little uncomfortable. It can be a little scary. Don't mean to scare you. It can get a little strange. It can get a little dicey, but this is good because all dead things or dying things must pass. They must move alongside like the dinosaurs of old. And I really think we're witnessing the end of the bad and the beginning of the good. It might get a little dicey by the oligarchs that think they rule us, because they don't. They can't even govern their own lives. They need to back away from ours. I think it is all about to get good, but it might be okay to brace for impact. A plane going down, unscheduled. It doesn't mean everyone dies. You can have crash landings, but I think we should brace for impact and make sure we're taking care of ourselves and have some good backup plans ready. And I think just one foot in front of the other, keep exposing all the corruption. And what's the worst that can happen? None of us get out of this life alive, so why take it so seriously all the time? Sometimes go to Minnesota, take a vacation. Sometimes watch the Cleveland Browns rocket on a 3-game winning streak. And then we get back to the important news. And you do that. I'll let everybody know where they can find you once again. You do this every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific on freedomizerradio.com, your show Eccentric Perspective. You can find that on podcast by searching Eccentric Perspective. And people can follow you on Twitter at Eccentric99 if you want to stay up to date on the cool, the crazy, the weird, the disturbing, but all the stories are at least important and worthy of a couple of seconds of at least reading the headline. Make sure you're following Blake. So, hey man, thanks for joining us again. I always appreciate you joining us here on Agree to Disagree, and we'll have to do it again soon. Okay, pal?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Sounds great.
All right, enjoy your weekend, sir. You take care. Stay safe. That was Blake the Eccentric Walley, everybody. Make sure you follow him in all of those places previously mentioned by me. And also, please make sure that you're checking us out. Our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. Check that out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Follow us on Twitter at American_media_ and search The New American Media on Facebook and like our page. I'm Brian Engelman, signing out for the TNAM Radio Network and Agree to Disagree. I appreciate you. I love you. Things are going to be awesome. Might get dark for a little bit, so be ready. But it's going to be awesome when it's done. I swear. Just take your medicine and listen to us. Thanks a lot, everybody. Peace.